Nightwing versus Miles Morales. Who wins? Now, we've seen plenty of Batman versus Spider-Man fights throughout the years, but what about their two top proteges? Who come out on top then? That's what we're going to find out. And just to clarify here, for Nightwing we'll be using a composite version of the character, so post-Crisis, New 52, and Rebirth. And for Miles, well, it's all the same guy, he just hopped over from Earth 1610 to Earth 616, but still the same guy. Dick Grayson is a superhero in the Bat family who was the original Robin after being adopted by Bruce Wayne. Eventually, though, he outgrew his position and was inspired by Superman to become Nightwing, with Jason Todd and Tim Drake succeeding him as Robins. Dick has also taken up the Batman mantle itself for a while, with Damian serving as his Robin before returning to his position as Nightwing. And he's led the Teen Titans and even the Justice League before. Due to his intense training with Batman, Nightwing is at the pinnacle of physical conditioning and is almost on par with Batman himself. He's able to easily pick up and carry people with just one arm. He can swing around a refrigerator. Even just some of his workouts are well within the half-ton range. Probably most impressively, Dick was able to prevent an orca from chomping down on him, which is a bite force of 19,000 psi. He can push over a gigantic multi-ton penny or hold up a gigantic multi-ton stone boulder. So he might not technically be superhuman, but his strength feats are well within super soldier range. And man, is all that able to translate over into a fight. He possesses enough strength to fight against a holographic copy of Bane and actually break Bane's own back. He's actually managed to knock out Batgirl with just one punch. He's been able to hurt superhumans like Blockbuster and Gorilla Grodd. And one time, Dick even shattered a man's titanium legs, one of the strongest metals on Earth. Of course, Nightwing is also equally just as tough. He can take multiple punches from some pretty powerful superhumans and not go down. He can survive point-blank explosions multiple times over, and while Dick is usually more than fast enough to dodge bullets, it also helps that his suit is pretty much completely bulletproof. In fact, Nightwing's suit is so durable and so advanced that he said Kevlar looks outdated compared to it. And it's not just physical durability either. Nightwing has some of the best mental toughness and willpower that you've ever seen. Like, he can go days without sleep, ignore fear toxin, and break through mental torture. He's gone for over a week in the desert without food or water. Dick has even been stabbed in the gut or shot in the head and still kept on going. But where Nightwing shines the most has to be speed and agility. I mean, the guy was headlining his own acrobatic show when he was just a kid. You know this was gonna be his specialty. And he's also officially known as the best acrobat in the DC universe. So yeah, he's really good. He's regularly been able to dodge bullets, even whole crowds of gunfire. And it's gotten to the point where Dick is basically able to just laugh and disregard guns. And it doesn't have to be just from a distance either. Nightwing has dodged point-blank bullets before, even with the gun pressed up against his head. He's just that fast. Speaking of fast, Nightwing is faster and more fluid in his movements than even Batman. He's also faster than Catwoman and Cassandra Cain. And it's not even unreasonable for Dick to react to super speedsters. Like, he's dodged attacks from Jesse Quick. He's even caught Wally freaking West before. I mean, talk about speed. But it's never about just physicality when it comes to the Bat family. And Nightwing is no exception. Skill and gear is equally just as important. Batman trained at Nightwing in every single form of martial arts, and every joint and nerve strike known to man. And Dick quickly mastered all of it, till it was said that he was only just behind Bruce when it came to skill and ability. He's fought against and beat Red Hood. He's absolutely schooled Damian. He's been able to fight against Deathstroke multiple times. He even held his own against Lady Shiva and actually beat Batman. Although you could say that Batman was holding back in that fight and was more testing Dick. Nightwing also carries a wide assortment of gear into battle, with his primary weapons being his Screama sticks. These can be electrified, release some pretty serious electrical attacks actually, and holy crap is Nightwing good at throwing these things around. Like he can ricochet them all over the place, no problem at all. He can throw his little wingdings like crazy too, is ridiculously accurate with them. Nightwing is always carrying explosives or sonic disruptors or basically anything else you can think of. End of the day, Nightwing might go down as Batman's greatest success and maybe one of the best heroes on Earth. Miles was just an ordinary teen until he was bitten by the Oz formula modified spider that had been snuck out of the then defunct Oscorp. This bite granted him a wide array of powers, including the traditional Spider-Man power set, but it also came along with electric-based powers that he dubbed his Venom Sting, and the ability to become invisible. Miles would then serve as his universe's Spider-Man for years, Earth 1610, and he'd even occasionally interact with the Peter Parker of Earth 616. During the events of Secret Wars though, Miles was one of the few people to survive the end of all things, and actually ended up being one of the few people from the Ultimate Universe to survive the rebirth of the multiverse due to Molecule Man's favor. Since then, him and his family have been living out in Earth 616. He's been a member of the Avengers, the Champions, the Ultimates, and one of the most important heroes in the world. Miles has all the proportionate strength of a spider, meaning that he's easily superhumanly strong. Like strong enough to easily lift up and throw around a police car, a large box truck, or even a shipping container, which would mean that he's lifting and throwing around up to 34 tons if that shipping container is full. And the crazy thing is that Miles is still kind of growing into his strength. This isn't near his full limit just yet. But even if he hasn't quite maxed out in strength, Spider-Man can still throw a mean punch. Like the kind of punch that has no problem sending Green Goblin flying all around, even flying straight through buildings. The kind of punch that can one-shot a lot of opponents, can beat Hammerhead all up even with his fancy adamantium skull, and just generally overpower everyone that he runs across. And just like Peter, Miles is always holding back in a fight. When the moment calls for it, Miles will sometimes stop holding back, like when he shattered Cap's shield with just one punch. Now, granted, this was Hydra Cap, it also wasn't Steve Rogers' classic vibranium shield, but it was still really tough, and Miles broke it with just one hit. And it's not just the proportionate strength of a spider either. Miles is way tougher than pretty much everyone else around him. He's been thrown way far by Rhino and was just fine. Has actually repeatedly been fine after taking punches from Rhino, from Green Goblin, both of which have given Peter Parker a bunch of trouble in the past. He survived hits from Morlun, who can straight up kill other Spider-Men, and it's never just physical punches. Like one of Prowler's sonic attacks was able to do this. Miles took a whole freaking beatdown from him. He's survived heat-seeking missiles, energy blasts from Vision, and powerful electric attacks, heat that can melt Iron Man's armor, or even surviving hours of intense torture and experimentation that was meant to bring him to his breaking point. But the best thing that Spider-Man has going for him? Well, it's the same as any other Spider-Man, his speed and agility. Spider-Man can move and react within microseconds. Iron Man once told him that he had to destroy an ancient artifact in a microsecond in order to prevent an army from making it through the portal, and Miles was successful. He's regularly been able to dodge bullets, react to bullets, block bullets, even after they've been fired. And sometimes they were fired by some of the world's best marksmen, like Winter Soldier. So it's not so much a matter of bad aim or missed shots. Miles is simply just faster than bullets. And he's able to use that kind of speed to regularly dance around opponents, easily react to punches and attacks thrown his way. His reaction times and reflexes make him nearly untouchable. And then on top of that, you throw in his spider sense. It's a miracle that Miles has ever been tagged before. It warns him of pretty much every incoming attack and allows him to predict what will happen next, oftentimes before the attacker actually even has the chance to attack. But those are all normal Spider-Man powers. What sets Miles apart are his electricity powers and the ability to turn invisible. With his invisibility, well, he's regularly able to use it to sneak up on opponents and get the drop on them, catching them by surprise and taking them out. He's also able to use it to sneak around or to hide from enemies. And he's like ridiculously good at this too. Like Miles was able to stay hidden on the Maker's ship, where villains like Thanos, Namor, and the Maker were hanging out and none of them knew he was there. Then Spider-Man's body also produces a powerful form of bioelectricity, which Miles can then manipulate all sorts of different ways. Like he learned how to discharge energy blast from his hands, which he calls Venom Blast, which can either simply daze someone or knock them out entirely. Like he's used them to knock out Venom, knock out Rhino, they've knocked out Spider-Man before. He's even somehow managed to knock out Fin Fang Foom, an injured Null. He can fire Venom stings out as energy blast. He'll regularly use them to amp his punches and make them more powerful. And Spider-Man is also able to do what he calls a Mega Venom Blast. That's where he releases a powerful blast of energy from all over his body, destroying most of the area around him, and he can use it to take out a whole group of enemies. And recently, Miles has even been learning how to create constructs out of bioelectric energy, like creating electric webbing or even electric swords. So, who wins here? Well, let's break it down. Now, this fight is basically all power versus experience. That's what you can boil it down to. Because realistically, Spider-Man should easily outpace Nightwing in every area here. Strength, durability, even speed and agility. Miles is way better. I mean, he's superhuman. Dick isn't. And even though Nightwing might have some outrageous, high-end strength feats, you still can't see him throwing around cars or trucks or sending guys flying through buildings. Nightwing might be tough enough to take attacks from superhumans, but not these kind of attacks from these kind of superhumans. Even speed and agility. Sure, this is definitely the closest area. Dick has regularly been able to dodge bullets and even react to superhuman speedsters, but it's still not quite on the same level as Spider-Man, because most all of Dick's bullet dodging feats are based on instinct and training, or simply moving so fast that no one can get a clear shot on him. Miles is much simpler. He's just faster than bullets, so he can outreact them and simply get out of their path. Easy as that. But on the other hand, well, Dick has way more skill and experience than Miles. Mostly because almost every hero has more skill and experience than Miles. He doesn't really have any combat training, as he's basically just got by using his spider sense and reflexes, along with watching old clips of Peter Parker in combat in order to try and copy some of his moves. A lot of luck involved there too. And this leads to him making mistakes in fights. He doesn't quite fully know the true extent of his powers, and all this holds him back from reaching his full potential. On the other hand, well, Nightwing is considered to be the best by none other than Batman himself. He's considered to be the second best fighter behind Bruce and has years of experience out there in the field. He's a brilliant tactician, a resourceful fighter, and will instantly know what he's going up against and come up with multiple strategies for how to try and take Miles down. And I bet a lot of them will be effective. Trying to distract him with different smoke bombs or explosives, sonic attacks should be fairly effective. There are several different things that Nightwing can do to push Miles in this fight. With Spider-Man's lack of skill and lack of experience, well, Nightwing can really push him in a way that he's never been pushed before. Like, this is something that Dick does on a nightly basis. Fight against a metahuman who is way outside of his weight class, but he'll win the fight just through his skill and his brain. However, that physical gap is still there, and it's still huge. Nightwing is going to have to land 10 attacks for every one that he takes from Miles, just because Spider-Man can punch so much harder, because Spider-Man can take so much more punishment. And that's going to be ridiculously hard when your opponent is also way faster than you and way more agile. Like, yes, Nightwing might be the best acrobat in DC, but he's still just a human acrobat. Miles is superhumanly good at all this stuff. That's just a whole other level. Then you throw in the spider sense, the ability to sense danger and almost predict the future that Miles can subconsciously react to. I mean, it almost borders on the ridiculous, because he's fast and knows just where to go. Then you gotta throw in the spider powers that are unique to Miles, his invisibility and his bioelectricity. Now, I don't think Miles' invisibility is gonna be as effective as it normally is here, because Nightwing can see in all different infrareds and everything with his mask. But even if he loses track of Spider-Man for just a couple seconds, well, that's still real dangerous in this fight, just because of how fast and how powerful Spider-Man is. But then the bioelectricity, well, just one blast has been able to knock out Spider-Man, knock out Rhino, knock out Venom, heck, knock out Fin Fang Foom. And as Miles can adjust the power of his Venom Blast at will, he can easily take Nightwing down with just one touch. No question about it. At the very least, it can severely phase Dick. But it could also short out a lot of Nightwing's gadgets, severely reducing his arsenal and ability during the fight. And let's say that Nightwing is able to catch Spider-Man with his bolos or grappling gun. Well, that's even worse, considering that Miles could channel the Venom Blast straight through the line. He can even shoot Venom Blast around. That's not even talking about the Mega Venom Blast, something that Nightwing wouldn't be able to dodge at all. End of the day, Nightwing is definitely the better fighter here. Trained by the best. Definitely smarter, more cunning. And he's got the experience and tools to give Spider-Man one heck of a good fight. But the fight is just too stacked against him here. Miles is stronger, he's faster, he's tougher, he's got better agility and reflexes. He can sense every punch coming his way before Nightwing even throws it. Then Venom Blast and Camouflage on top of it? Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious here. Spider-Man wins. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.